Hey, what's going on, people? It's SGZ here from the SpartanGameZone, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the new Terra anointments and whether there's any point in them outside the Halloween event. As you know, these anointments can be attached to weapons dropped by ghosts throughout Pandora and can only be gathered until the event ends on December 5th. They all involve something to do with Terra, a new status effect that triggers when the ghasts of dead ghosts enter you. Almost all of the new anointments require you to be inflicted with Terra before they actually do something. But when inflicted with Terra, you also get considerable debuffs to your accuracy and handling. When the ghosts are gone, so is the easiest way to trigger the effect. So is there a point to them? Will you be using them outside of the event? And should you spend time getting the best Terra anointments while you can? We'll be having a look at all of that today. The first thing you'll want and you'll need to get if you want to make any use of the Terra anointments outside of the event is a way to produce Terra. Because there'll be no ghost, you must be able to produce it yourself. So look for something like this, an item that produces Terra on action skill end. With regards to action skills, you'll want one with a high cooldown rate and low uptime. Amara's Phase Grasp is the easiest to trigger, as unsuccessful Phase Grasp will give you Terra, but something like Flak's Rack Attack or forcing action skill end by exiting Moses' Iron Bear should work well too. Back to the anointment. This one produces Terra every 5 seconds for the next 18 seconds after action skill end, and you'll need this on one of your items. Ideally, you want it on a passive item, and by passive I mean not on your weapons, but on a relic shield or possibly a grenade mod. This will ensure that the effect triggers each time without needing the right gun in your hand, and you can leave the guns for dealing damage. Speaking of dealing damage, let's have a look at some of the Terra anointments. First off, we have this Anointed Stalker, which, while terrified, gains increased fire rate and damage. Looking at the fire rate increase, here is its traditional firing speed. Compared to this when you're fully terrified. It's a decent increase and you'll certainly notice it in combat. Now let's have a look at the damage boost. Here we are against Grave Ward and Mayhem 2 without any Terra. Compared to here with the anointment activated. As you saw, the damage increase is quite considerable, and I consider this one of the best Terra anointments for dealing damage, and definitely one you should aim for. Now for some other anointments, and we have this one, which returns ammo to the magazine while terrified. It's not fantastic, but it can help with ammo conservation if you use it appropriately. Another anointment is one that regens health. And as you can see here, the healing rate is really high, especially on top of any other passive healing your character may have. Accompany this with lifesteal and being terrified all the time, and you may never die. This can be quite useful in combat. There are also anointments that deal 50% bonus elemental damage while terrified. This is effectively an all-time 50% increase to your gun's damage, if you can remain terrified at all times, which, depending on your character, may be easy to achieve. However, being terrified does have its drawbacks. I don't know about you, but with some guns I find it really difficult to kill enemies. It can be terribly difficult to aim when your crosshairs are almost half the size of your screen, and on top of that you also have this green smoke swirling around the edges. The thing is, that's your life if you decide to run a Terra build. There's a lot of standard anointments that are just as good as the Terra ones, which don't have these downsides. Instead of being active while terrified, a lot of them can be active while an action skill is up, which is essentially the same thing. In saying that, there are some good Terra anointments, and you will see benefit in fully decking out your character in favour of a Terra build. Whether that benefit surpasses any original anointment builds remains to be seen, and it'll be difficult to create a great build in just a month, so keep that in mind if that's what you plan to do. So anyway, that's all for this video. I hope it helped you out, and I hope it shed light on some of the challenges and benefits surrounding a Terra build. If it did, consider dropping a like or subscribing, and I'll catch you in the next one.